Hello from Intellipaat guys. The topic for today is Spark Data Frame tutorial. But before we begin, be sure to hit that subscribe button and click on that bell notification icon so you don't miss out on any updates from us. Also, you can sign up for our webinars to ask doubts live from the instructor who is taking the session. And the link for signing up for the webinar has been shared with you in the YouTube chat box. So with that out of the way, let us begin. So for the agenda today, we have the prerequisites, which is the configuration scheme that I'm going to be using in order to execute my hands-on for the Spark data frame. Then we are going to be going over what data sets are, because to understand data frames, we need to understand what data sets are with reference to Spark. And then we're going to understand what data frames are, eventually going to the hands-on with the data frame tutorial, and then we'll learn a few more things about how to get started with Apache Spark in general. So the prerequisites that we have for the configuration that I'm using Scala, Java, and a CentOS operating system with an Apache Spark installed. So the three key ingredients that are essential to this are Java and Apache Spark, but alternatively, you can use Scala, Python, R as well, depending on the preference that you have, or an alternate operating system for that matter, because there are a lot of operating systems that do support Apache Spark. So these, so this is specifically the configuration that I will be using for my tutorial. What are data sets in Spark? So datasets are a new interface that were added in Spark 1.6, and they provide us with the benefits of RDDs, which would imply that there is strong typing capabilities and we can use Lambda functions on these datasets. And the benefits of Spark SQL's optimized execution engine. So what this basically means is that whenever we have raw data, we can essentially convert that data into a JVM object, and that JVM object is called a dataset. But that's not it. We can further convert that particular object by various transformation functions like map, filter, flat map into further JVM objects, and those JVM objects are also datasets as well. So map, filter, and flat map are transformation functions that were uh, essentially only possible for RDDs before Spark 1.6, but with the introduction of datasets, they are now possible for datasets as well. So the APIs possible where we can implement datasets, the languages for which the APIs are there are Java and Scala for now. And if you want to implement datasets, then you can use any of these languages. And then what are data frames in Spark? So now that we know what data sets are, data frames are essentially a data set organized into named columns. So data sets are essentially arrays that are unstructured in a way. And when you convert those arrays into a actual table, an SQL table, that table is called a data frame. So it is conceptually equivalent to a table in a relational database management system, for instance, a MySQL or an Oracle database. And it is also sort of similar with the data frames that we create in R and Python. So if you're coming from a data science background, you might be familiar with the data frames that are possible in R and Python as well. But Spark is obviously built for big data analytics, and that is why it is easier to basically analyze big data sets with the use of Spark. So as we can see in the diagram, the data set object, the JVM object, the dataset object was once transformed using the map, filter, or flat map function, whatever it was, into furthermore JVM objects. And then by using the simple 2DF function, which means the two data frame function, we converted them into a Spark data frame. So this Spark data frame has named columns and is essentially a very well structured format of data. So we can perform queries on this, SQL queries on this, and basically overall treat it as a structured data set. So the APIs available for Java, Scala, Python, and R. So the data frame API is available for Java, Scala, Python, and R. So if you're even from a Python or R background, you can still use Spark data frames very easily. So now we move on to the data frame tutorial. So I'm going to be using my Linux virtual machine to actually perform this. So let us begin. So currently we are inside our virtual machine and we're going to be performing some analytics on a text file that I have created. So the text file is called YT Live. If I just open it up, we look at the contents of this text file. So this is the content that is present. So it says, hello from Intellipaat. Today we are going to be discussing Spark data frames. Hello from Intellipaat. So this is the content of the text file, and we're going to be performing some analytics on this. So the first thing that we're going to do is open up our terminal. So I'm going to just zoom this up so you guys can see clearly. So firstly, we're going to be starting our Spark shell. So type in Spark hyphen shell for that. So that will start our Spark shell session. Yeah, so we have created our Spark shell. So right now, the advantage of Linux is it's pretty easy to install Apache Spark because we don't need a multi-cluster system to actually use Spark, and it's a preferred environment because if we are going to do this on Windows, then we'll have to virtualize the concept of a cluster, and it involves a lot of setup procedure. So it's always better if you can just get a virtual machine and then start to install Apache Spark. And then we can begin with our question. So firstly, I'm going to just create a variable to store our text file inside. So I'll call this RD, and I'm going to equate it to sc dot text file because we're going to be analyzing a text file. So we need to import a text file with our Spark context, and our Spark context variable is sc. And then within our brackets, we're going to be specifying the parameter or the address where our text file is. So just open up double quotes and type in the address. So in my case, it's home training and ytlive.txt and then close. So I'm just going to verify whether it's that before I actually execute that. It's called ytlive.txt. Absolutely, it's correct. So now I'm going to begin. And then after that, just simply press enter and it will create an RDD out of that text file. So we're going to use this RDD object and then essentially create our word count program first. So simply create another RDD, we'll call this counts and wait it to rd.flatmap. As we were discussing earlier, we can further transform this RDD line. So line is a variable. You can use any variable that you want, but I'm using line to indicate all of the lines that are present inside of my RDD object that contains my text file as a string and line dot split. And I'll split this line on a particular regular expression. So this regular expression in my case would be double backslash W plus. So what does this mean? So this expression essentially implies that all of the special characters and numeric values present within our text file will not be included in the final data frame that we will create. So it will only give us the pure words because we are going to be performing a word count and then we are going to convert that word count RDD, the count that we receive, into a data frame, a structured data set. So that is why we're using a double backslash W plus instead of an actual space as our delimiter. So once we are done with that, dot map word And word is another variable that I've created to indicate words as opposed to lines. And then every word, I'll map it to 1. So every word, whenever it occurs, will have the count 1. And then I'll close this up and type it reduce by key. So map reduce. I'm going to reduce all of these words mapped to 1. Whenever they occur, I'll add all of their values, which is 1. And then given the parameter that I want for this, which is plus sign, because I want to add all of the key values. And then press enter. So that creates another RDD, which, as we can see, contains a string element and an integer element. So the string element is the word, and the integer element is the count associated to that word. All right. So now we will actually create a data frame with the simple 2df function as we discussed. So we'll call this variable df, and we'll convert counts to df, right? Because we need to convert this RDD, this object, this JVM object into a data frame, and press enter. So the 2df successfully converts our RDD into a data frame. So on one column, we will have all of our words. On another column, we will have all of our counts. So we've created it successfully. And now we will now perform some operations on this. So the first thing that we can do is change the column names. So currently we have _1 and _2 as our column names. If I simply type in df dot show and press enter, then we'll get our table that we have. So as we can see, the column names are _1 and _2, but we need to change these column names into something else. So for that, simply type in another, we're going to create another data frame. We'll call this df2, because you cannot actually change something that is already present. You cannot change an existing data frame. You cannot transform it. You'll always have to create new data frames or new objects, because Spark functions in memory. So whenever you're doing something new, you will create a new copy of that inside of the memory. All right. Okay. So df dot, the new data frame would be equivalent to df dot 2df, because we're going to be converting this into a data frame again. And the sequence of the column names would be word, comma, count, because this is the sequence that I want my column names in. So I'm creating a sequence for that. And then I'm going to replace this, replace the existing column names, which is _*, with this new sequence of word and count. So how does that work? It basically means that _* represents both _1 and _2. The asterisk is replaceable with 1 or 2. That is what it means. If you've ever actually dealt with the Linux file system, you will understand that concept. So the word will replace the first, which is our _1, and the count will replace our second, which is our _2, and we will have new column names in our new data frame that we are creating, and we'll press enter after that. So we've successfully created two new column names in our new data frame. So if I simply type in df2 dot show and press enter, so as we can see, the column names are different in this. The first column name is word and the second column name is count, right? So let us do some transformations, or let us do some querying on the data frame that we've created. Now that we've successfully converted an unstructured data set into a structured data set, which is this word and count, proper SQL table, right? So now we can perform some queries on it and see how that goes. So as if you remember, in SQL, we have something called order by. So if I simply type in df2 order by, and if you want something like ascending order, right? If you want all of these counts in ascending order, you can simply use ASC for that. And given the column name count, dot show, and given like we want the first 5 counts, so do that and press enter. So we can see it has been arranged in ascending order. So if we just see this in ascending order, we have a lot of ones, so that will arrange automatically. And that is how we are getting a result. The first 5 results with 1 is what we are essentially getting. And if we want to arrange it in descending order, we can simply type in BESC and count, and that would arrange it in descending order as well. So as we can see, the counts have been arranged in descending order too. Data frames also provide us with the filter function, so we can use that as well. So to filter out particular column attributes, if you simply type in df2.filter and given a criteria inside of double quotes, so I'll say count has to be greater than 1. So this is my criteria for the filter. So that's the query that I sent in the function's parameters, count greater than 0. So that would go into the SQL context for this data frame, and type in dot collect, and bracket open, bracket close, press enter. So that would essentially give us all of the elements present within our data frame that are above the count of 2. So we can also do it this way. If we want to simply see it as a data frame, remove the collect and type in show and press enter. So that would show it as a data frame. So this was showing it as an actual SQL row, but here it is showing it as a data frame itself. So you can use collect and show alternatively depending on the use case that you may have. If you want to send data, then definitely use collect. If you want to display data, then use show. All right. So these were some of the functions that you can use with data frames. There are obviously a lot of functions that are possible because it essentially gives you the option to treat big data as an actual RDBMS table. So yeah, so that was it about with the so that was it with the tutorial. So now that you know a little bit about Spark data frames, if you're interested in the concept, how to get started, right? So one way is looking at online resources. Like for instance, we have the Intellipaat blog and our YouTube channel, which constantly keeps updating with all of this content related to Spark and other topics as per your interest. Or you could go for something even better, which is a structured way to actually learn Apache Spark with a curriculum handcrafted for maximum retention and learning. So if you head on over to intellipaat.com and type in Spark, you'll get a lot of courses, but the one I want you to focus on right now is Apache Spark and Scala certification training. If you're exclusively looking for a Spark certification, so if I just open this up and go through the features that we have. So the first feature is 25 or 24 hours instructor-led training. So basically that implies that you will be seated in live classes in live batches, and the instructor will teach you live through video conferencing, and you can ask doubts live from the instructor as he is teaching you. And other than that, we have 22 hours of self-paced videos. So that means that if the instructor is going too fast or too slow, you can look at the pre-existing content that we have, like self-paced videos, and accumulate all of the doubts that you gain in those self-paced videos and ask the instructor during your batch session. And other than that, we have 60 hours worth of project work and exercises. So hands-on is very important for any subject, and that is what employers are looking for. Your experience, your practical hands-on expertise in the particular domain that you are getting your certification in. or applying for the job for. So 60 hours worth of that is provided by this particular course. And after you've completed your certification, you can be provided with job assistance. So while we may not be able to guarantee you a job, we will be able to guarantee you a job opportunity. So depending on your interview performance, you might land your big data dream job. And we also provide a flexible schedule. So if your schedule is not matching with the instructors on a particular day, your batch would be rescheduled. You can be seated in another batch, and you can essentially ask for all of your lives, and you can ask for all of your doubts live again. There's a lifetime free upgrade, 24/7 lifetime support and access as well, which means that if the technology upgrades in a significant way, our course updates as well, and you can come back and visit our course anytime. And what will you learn in this Spark online training? So Scala and Spark programming, the differences between Apache Spark and Hadoop, because Spark is way more popular today. Scala, because it is the building block for Apache Spark programming inside of the terminal, implementing Spark on a multi-cluster, which means on a big cluster, and writing Spark applications using Python, Java, and Scala. So you can learn how to write Spark applications using Python as well. And RDD, how RDD works, defining Spark streaming, Scala classes, so Scala fundamental concepts, the interoperability of Java and Scala, and working on projects using Scala to run Spark applications. So if you're coming from an engineering background, looking to enhance your big data skills or looking to upgrade your job profile, you might go for this course. You may go for this course. And if you're a data engineer or an ETL developer or coming from a data science background, you can go for this. Or if you're simply fresh out of university looking to make a career in big data, you can definitely go for this course. So there are no prerequisites for this course at all, because all of the Scala training and programming training, the basic programming training, will be provided to you before you head on over and tackle Apache Spark. So you don't need to understand that very well. Uh, but you do need to have some basic knowledge about how SQL tables work, how databases work. So, if you want to look at the curriculum in detail, you can download the curriculum from our page and look at what projects and what courses, what course material we will provide to you, and look at what all hands-on you will be doing during this. So, there's a Twitter API integration with tweet analysis and Wikipedia analysis, Wikipedia data exploration with Spark SQL as well. So if you want to look at the reviews that we have, you can look at the certification training reviews at the bottom of the web page. So that was it for the course. We have reached the end of the session. You can use the coupon code YouTube 30, especially for our YouTube audiences watching us here today. You can use the coupon code YouTube 30 and get a flat 30% discount on not just our Spark Scala courses. You can get it for any course on our website. And with that done, we are absolutely at the end of the session. You can use the following contact details to contact our course advisors. Uh, and as a reminder, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, please be sure to sign up for the webinar. If you want to ask doubts from me live, I'll be happy to assist you with those doubts. If you simply go ahead and click on that link that is sent to you on the YouTube live chat box and sign up for it, you will be part of our next webinar. So use the following contact details, and that is it from us. Have a wonderful evening and goodbye.